You need to have the best emotions, risk management, execution. You need to have it all because trading is the hardest thing you'll ever do. You just need to be a top performer in every aspect of it.
This year, I'm going to be disciplined.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NextGen Traders YouTube channel. As you can see, we are back. It has been a lot of months, but we have a really packed full 2022 recap episode today for you guys. We're not going to have as strict of a plan today. We are just going to talk about how we feel about our trading, as well as the biggest challenge we had this year so far, our performance, charts, mentality, and anything outside of trading we also want to talk about. And then we will go through an open discussion at the end. So kind of a more loose schedule, but it's going to be a really good episode with a lot of good, useful knowledge for anyone who sees this, and definitely for us too when we watch it back. So Xander is going to start us off talking about how he feels about his trading and his biggest challenge so far this year.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, I've made it big. I'm successful. I passed the 8-figure mark. But besides that, but for real, this year was definitely not necessarily the most challenging because the first year was also super hard, but this year was also just a lot of repetitive stuff, like doing the same thing every single day, and just trying to find something that works, trying to adjust, make small adjustments to make big impacts. But what really changed it was just going off on my own and trying to meet new people. Not necessarily like I basically beginning of 2022, I separated off of like the chat rooms and stuff like that, because they're really only helpful for the first like 3-4 months, I would say. Then you have to, you have to go meet people, you have to go network, and you have to find people who are way better than you at trading. And you have to not necessarily get mentored by them, but just be around them, because naturally you start to gravitate towards their work ethic and how they trade necessarily. And I mean, just all that together, you'll start finding your own way. And you'll start thinking for yourself rather than trying to think someone else is better than you or someone else's method is the way to go. The best way to go is your own method. And so you just need to find what works for you. And that was the biggest thing for me. But the biggest challenge was probably like fees. Fees were a big shock to me. Because looking at my gross profit chart, it's like consistently up, like from the beginning, from day one, it was like consistently up, just smooth uptrend. But it's a big reality check and shock that the fees, they completely change everything. My gross profit chart is perfectly up, but the net profit chart is like down for like 2021 at least. Beginning of 2022 is the same, and then in the middle I started uptrending, and then just a few months ago I passed break even and skyrocketed. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge, the fees, and honestly just going through the drawdowns and just the constant day-to-day, I'm losing, what I do doesn't work, trying to find what works, but eventually you find what works and you're all good. And you as long as you don't lose a lot during the drawdowns, it's really easy to recover and you make new highs. So that's how my year's been.
Yeah, very good, very great points. It was the same for me in the beginning for the fees, but of course it's not the same as yours. Like I saw yours after, like I think after November and December, and yeah, that's like, I don't like, does it change as you size up? Like, does it go with it? Or like it gets smaller if you size up?
So it depends on your structure. I'm with Cobra Trading, and it's basically per share, so it goes with it. Like, even if I size up, it's still going to be the same. At the very beginning, it was like $1 flat per trade, so that was like really eating into my profits. But still, it's the same effect now. It still adds up into a lot of my profits, and it cuts a lot of it.
Okay, so for me this year was the best like analogy is a roller coaster. It's exactly that. Like, since like the first, like in March, I had like my first like big month, and every time I thought I got there, like got to the next level, right away the market would just stop giving me places, and then like I went like 4 months with just not knowing what to do. And then after that again I had like 2 great months, and then again big red months. So it was like, and like, I mean, there was not like big losses, but it was just like the biggest challenge was staying in flow with the market, especially like with me, because I was basically only trading OTCs, and that's not really like consistent market. So every time I would get on a nice streak, having great trades, the market would just stop, having any volume, and then they would just completely die, and I would just only lose until the next big mover. So there was no consistency, and that's like in the end of the year, I started like learning listed, and I think that's what will smoothen. That's what will smoothen my line, like my profit chart. If I learn that too, because then I will have like two tools in my arsenal. And if OTCs are dead, then I can focus on that. But yeah, overall, still a great year. I can't complain really. Not like 100% satisfied, but still I can look like back my previous year and see the improvements. So yeah, that's just the main thing, like keeping perspective.
Nice, nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I had a pretty good year as well, like as regards to growth. Um, you know, it just felt really, really long. Like in the beginning of the year, we had the meetup and then we learned a lot from there, talking with different traders. And it like from there, like it was so much better. Like I had so much more clarity and stuff. Like even like people who didn't trade the same stuff as me, it was mostly like the mental aspects that it really helped. Um, but then of course, like the summer was a little slower. And then this winter was super slow. So yeah, it's being able to make money consistently instead of, because like right now, if I knew this was gonna happen, I probably would have sized up more during the hotter months.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. But of course you don't know. And I'm confident that all of us, if we get another, hot market, we're ready, we're skilled enough and experienced enough to capitalize on this market. So I'm not too worried about the slower markets right now. And I would say the biggest thing for me, like the biggest issue, was basically just trusting myself. Like I was a little scared, with OTCs, mainly because of not getting filled and on the sell. Like if it breaks my risk, I can't just stop out as easily. So that prevented me from getting like 8R, 9R trades over and over again. So that was pretty frustrating. But this year I'm gonna size in more. So that's gonna mitigate, the risk of, slippage with losses.
Awesome. Awesome, Josh. Yeah, for me, how do I feel? So I feel that this year my trading can be summed up in a huge jumble of mental clutter. And what I mean by that is from where I remember myself in January of last year to now, and when I worked through each month of, how I was trading in January off of a random VWAP setup that I had into February, March, April,
remember
discovering what moving averages were for the first time. Didn't know what they were. Finally figured those out, and then I started finding out other moving averages and trying to find like cupping off of moving averages. And then I started trading options, and then I took a major loss in my first few weeks of trading options, and then I kept evolving options slowly but surely. I can say I've confidently made every single trading mistake there is to possibly make. And definitely more times than once. I'm not afraid to be the guy to say that, you guys are probably listening to Alex, Josh, and Xander and saying like, wow, yeah, these guys had great years. Their performance is great. I'll be the outlier. There's many reasons why I haven't, where I'm not where I should be, and I will talk about those things in the next portion of our talk. But as I evolved like through the months, I guess adaptation has been a good word, but I can kind of relate to what Alex is saying in terms of a roller coaster, except I was going down a lot more than I was going up. My roller coaster just kept going kind of like this. And if I'm being completely honest, my biggest struggle, my biggest challenge has been inconsistency and big losses. Big losses especially, and the unknowns that options brings, and just never really knowing where you are in terms of your risk, in terms of managing your risk, how much time decay is going to be a factor. So it's just been a lot of, through the months, each month for this year has had something specific about it that was a step in the right direction. But then I've had 5 distinct times in my trading, kind of like Alex says, but to a lot worse of a degree, where I thought that I was figuring things out. I thought that that my strategy was good, and that this was going to be the time I was going to turn my trading around. It happened 5 different times to me, but every single time I said that to myself, I got knocked down even harder than the time before.
That's
And
how it always
Mm,
works.
yeah, it's
yeah,
happened to me too.
yeah. So every single time it's gotten worse, and then recently in the past few weeks, which I'll share, that was kind of the last straw for me, and I'm not going to go through this again. So I'll share with you guys, a lot of things that I'm going to change, but inconsistency, big losses are my biggest struggle, and that's how I kind of feel about my trading. Just a mental mind clutter of a lot of different changes that have happened throughout the year.
Awesome, awesome.
All right, so I guess I'll get into my performance for the year. All right, so 2022 game performance. As you can see, the uptrend
Yes,
chart.
sir.
Here is my performance for this year. 103 are total. And I would say, like, as you can see from the chart, most of that, 80 of it, is from the last 2 months. So I'll tell you where I started this year, and then the middle of the year, and then what really changed my performance for the better. So I started out, I was trading all-day faders, systematic, and I mean, January was a decent month. As you can see, I made like 15R, which at the time was like pretty good. But then quickly the good January fader market stopped going, and for the first 3 months of the year I was in a downtrend, and this is going to be the biggest drawdown I've ever experienced. Not really dollar wise, but it was like, I think 30R, 34R drawdown, which is pretty insane. But yeah, so that's what the year started out as. I was trading ADF system. It was kind of just a basic system. It had back tested results, but they weren't strong. It wasn't a strong enough edge, and the market was really changing from 2021, because 2022 is very different. Like, the market has changed so much, like pretty much every 3 months of this year. Like, it's changed so much so quickly. It's hard to keep up with it. But for about, I think, 3 months up until May, I was trading discretionary. So what I was doing is, trading day one gappers, small caps, just shorting them when they popped up. I kind of had a systematic approach, but instead of being completely robotic, I was using more of my intuition, which, there was some good moments, but for the most part, it was a downtrend, and I was really struggling. And also just 2021, I mainly just repeated and like switched setups like every other week. And that was kind of a period where I repeated 2021's mistakes. So for about the first 5 months of the year, I really was, I was really making a lot of mistakes and just trying completely random things. I wasn't sticking with one thing, and I wasn't attacking a certain area of the market. I was just kind of going everywhere. And so May is when I started the ADF system, the new one. So I went to the spreadsheets, and I had a second look at it, and I made the proper adjustments that I needed, and I took more time into it. And I made a profitable system, what it looked like in the back test at least. And it was decent. Like, right when I started it, I had a pretty good uptrend. So as you can see, I started at negative 16R, and then I grew it to, 8R, which is like what, 23R total. So that was a good run because it was in a short span, 1 month, 23R. I was like, okay, things are starting to work. But then you go into a drawdown. It just wasn't a strong edge. And as I said, this is net right here. So as you can see, the fees take a lot into it. And the gross is just like, it's consistent, it's smooth. It's like a beautiful chart, but I won't even show it because it doesn't matter. What really matters is net, because that's what's realistic. And you could see that, you're gonna draw down a lot deeper than what the back tests say, when you factor in fees and locates and everything. But basically, that was good. And here, it started performing well again. But I think I implemented my new system around here, which is oh wait, no, I implemented it in October. So I did have a second run on the ADF system, but again, I went into a drawdown. And dollar wise, what happened was my R increased like quite a bit. So my R went from, let's say, $30 risk per trade to $60 risk per trade on the next run up, but then I hit a drawdown. And during that drawdown, I was at peak R, so I was risking $60. So boom, I lost a lot of my gains that I just made. So probably like 50-60% drawdown of the gains, just because of fees and locates, because they add up so fast, especially during like a prolonged drawdown, because we can go into my drawdown stats. Average number of days in drawdown is 33 days. That's a month pretty much. So I'm spending a long time in the drawdowns, and the fees are really taking it in, because I'm taking about 1 to 2 trades a day, and that really adds up a lot. So I was going flat, nothing was really working. October 25th, I think it was, I implemented my new system, which I had back tested a month prior. Like I had been back testing it for a while, and I found the edge. And what I did to find the edge was literally just search everywhere in the market, just came up with ideas and tested them. And one of them just happened to show really promising results, and that's the one I went with. And that's what I suggest to everyone. A lot of people I talk to are like in chat rooms, and they're really just, they're trying to learn from other people, the gurus. But that's not the way to become a profitable trader. The way to become a profitable trader is to listen to yourself and really improve on your own. You learn the basics in the chat rooms, and then you move on. You network with great traders, you pick up golden nuggets here and there, but you accumulate all of it together, and you test things on your own. And that's why review is so important, because that's the best way to improve as a trader on your own. So, step up your review game. I suggest getting into back testing if that's your style. A lot of people don't like back testing, but I do, because it gives me like incredible confidence if I see something has edge over the long term. I have a lot of confidence to just put size behind it and go for it. So that's what I did with this. And as you can see, it's worked out really insane. I think like ADR in 2 months, and it's been a crazy run. We can go to my Twitter and see my
It was right after the
cumulative
conference,
P&L. But what?
It was right after the conference.
Yeah. So we went to Tim Sykes' conference, and I mean, I didn't learn anything there. Well, I made great networks, that's for one. But it's kind of a basic, the conferences and everything, it's mainly basic stuff. But what's really good about it is networking, and networking is what I attribute a lot of my success to. So you have to do it. But yeah, this is my cumulative P&L. This is the dollar, not the R. So you can see, because of fees, it was just beaten down. Even though my R was at like 20 and I was green, and the gross was even more. I think I was at like 60 R gross before I even started trading this setup. You know what? Let's just look. Let me pull this off screen and look, because I keep talking about it.
These R's are, they're like all different, right? Like dollar wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. That's the gross.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like insane. The net is flat and the gross is just consistent. Like you can see, like it's beautiful. Like it's uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. It's great. But the cumulative is very misleading. Basically, I'll just go over some of my lessons. I put it all in this tweet. You can check out my Twitter. Basically, the biggest lesson was cover it in a day. I see so many people piking their trades, and it frustrates me so much, because they're literally like trying to micromanage their trade, but really they just need to get a good entry and hold for the rest of the day. The low a day is like, I think 10%. 10% chance at the end of the day it's going to be a low day, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you get the outliers that really fade deep, because risk reward really takes its place there. It's like that 80-20 rule where 20% of your, or 80% of your profits are 20% of your trades. And that's the case for my system. So really holding for big wins helps me a lot, and not piking out, because piking is probably, I would say, the #1 reason people are unprofitable. If they just held, they would probably be great. And then a realization is that so a lot of traders, you know, they say risk management is the most important thing. If you have good risk management, you don't even need a good system. You can make money. You just need this one thing. Or having good emotions, you just need good emotions. No, it's not true. You don't just need that. There's not one thing that's the best. You literally need it all. You need to have the best emotions, risk management, execution. You need to have it all, because trading is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And you just need to be a top performer in every aspect of it. There's pretty much no exceptions. There's people that do good without good risk management, but eventually a year or two later, or however long it takes, they're going to lose it all. Same with emotions. It's pretty much ties together. And execution.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have top 1% quality in every aspect of trading. So really review yourself, see what where you're lacking. And most people, it's emotions. And well, emotions ties into everything: risk management, execution. But you just have to look at every angle, and you can't let yourself be any less than a top performer. Now my biggest loss this year was 19R loss. And I got caught in a news pending halt that gapped up huge with super tight risk. And this is a lesson that literally, even if you're the best trader in the world, you're going to get a huge loss, because you have, even though you have nothing to do with it, it wasn't even my fault. I was just simply following my system, and I got caught in a news halt. It's just super unfortunate. I could have blown up that day. I mean, there's horror stories of them gapping and going even higher than where it opened. It didn't even open that high from where I entered. It's just I had such tight risk. So I literally could have blown up that day, because the market just decided to give that to me, not because I lost control or anything like that. So honestly, what I was thinking in my head while stuck in that halt, I was like, you know what? I might blow up today. It's not my fault, but
It's so scary.
I'm just gonna accept it. Whatever happens, it's meant to be. That's like the philosophy of a Stoic. I mean, just accept the outcome before it even happens, and your emotions are gonna be a lot better and more in control. And luckily, it wasn't as bad, and I'm still good today. I actually made it all back the next day, because I mean, the market works in some weird ways. If it gives you a lot of money real quick, it'll probably take it back after. If it takes all your money, it can probably give it back to you the next week, if you're positioned right. Now, let's see. Yeah, finally, if you want to make it in trading, you have to give it your all, and you have to take action. Like most people, they're in their heads, they're overthinking, and they're not actually doing. So they're like, oh, what should I track? What should I, blah, 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 blah. Instead of actually doing, they're just asking. They're clueless. Like they're acting like they don't know what to do, but really they know what to do. They just don't, they're lazy and they don't want to take the action. And I was the same way and still am. But the key is to acknowledge it when it's happening and just take action. So if you think, oh, what should I track? What should I be tracking in my spreadsheets? Instead of asking everyone, which is fine, I mean, in the beginning, but just start doing things, start getting your hands on and figuring it out. That's the best advice I can give. But yeah, I've gone through a lot of drawdowns and stuff this year, but ending out the year strong. And I would say my 2023 goal is to just execute my system, because in the middle of the year, I was still doing things I was doing in 2021, where I was trading different systems. So up until I would say November, I was trading options, I was trading, discretionary short, and I was trading my system on top of that. And my system was the only thing that was making money. Now I thought to myself, why am I focusing so much time and energy and even money, because I was losing on the other systems, on the other strategies. I was saying, why am I focusing so much on the losing stuff and not the winning thing and maximizing the winning system? So that's what I did. I cut off everything and I'm only focusing on what's working, because that makes sense in my head. I don't know why I was focused so much on what wasn't working. And I will only go to something new when I hit a liquidity limit, because I'm trading something low liquidity. And eventually I'm going to hit a liquidity limit and I'll expand when that happens. But until then, I'm going to be maximizing my system as much as possible and just executing. Yeah, so 2023, I'm literally just going to be clicking buttons, like just following the system, and that's it. And I hope that my last 2 months performance is going to reflect the same in 2023. Like literally right when I started it, I was performing incredibly, matching the back tests, everything was good. So far I haven't had any big problems other than like a 20-hour drawdown, which I recovered in a week. But yeah, a good system can recover their drawdowns really quickly and grow beyond the drawdown. Let's see what else. Yeah, one last point. I'm actually fine with how I did, trade a ton of systems before simultaneously. It taught me a lot. Like I literally learned options in a week, and trading them for about a month, I learned a lot from them. I learned about time decay. I was selling options. So I learned about time decay. I learned how options work. I learned so much just from that. So it's all learning lessons, and I really didn't lose. I think I lost like $500 maybe tops on options. And I mean, that's fine for a learning experience. Now I know when I go back to options, I have that in my tool belt, and all this stuff behind me. I have so many different experiences. I'm not just like a one-minded trader, like one system trader. So I'm glad I did all that before, but 2023 is the year of one system. That's cool. That's a cool line. Year of one system. I'm going to trade that, and I'll talk to you guys in 2024 with hopefully good performance.
Beautiful. I love the part about the 1%er thing. When you were talking about you have to be, top 1% in everything you do, and you can't falter, because if one falters, then you're not, then you're not going to be where you need to be. I
realized that, because with fees, taxes, outlier events like the news halt, all this stuff, you need to literally be the best. You need to be the best in everything to be able to make money after all that stuff. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Yeah, I
Xander,
agree.
when you pay that much in fees, does it do something to your taxes? Like, does it help you?
If I have like an LLC, I think I can write off my locate fees.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, that's something good.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
Xander, remember, just because it's going well or went well in December doesn't mean it'll continue. Because
Oh yeah, I've accepted. I'm gonna draw
Yeah.
down all my money. I'm gonna go red. I'm gonna blow up tomorrow. I've accepted it.
Okay.
no, but I remember you were saying a few times like, "Oh, things are finally
Josh,
clicking.
different. Josh, no, it's different.
Yeah.
Because
Things are finally clicking."
You didn't say that now.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it always happens
How's
to
all
all of
time,
us where we
It
think
does.
we got
It like
and then we
literally
draw down.
since
Got
the
it?
dawn of time.
Yeah.
Every time I've upswinged, I've lost it all, like every single time.
Well,
So
this time's
I'm just
different.
I'm either waiting for it to happen or gonna be surprised it doesn't.
No, just be smart though. Like we'll all be smart, obviously.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it, Xander.
Now it's
Alex,
such
you want to go right ahead?
Okay, yeah. So I made video, of course. So I posted that on my YouTube today, and that will be in the description. So I will not be that specific, because I already went over everything in my video, but I'll just go overall the year. So this was my last month. So the main thing about from this month that I want to take to the next year is, like, you see, I have a lot of losses. Basically all of them are losses, because I started learning listed, And this was the main thing this year that I never did. Like I never all the year I went just like all this year I only had good trades on OGCs. If I go to the pattern performance like here, you see like I lost at the, like 1K unlisted. But again, I guess I just paid that amount to learn something. Like the listed device is the only thing I'll be focusing on. And also the funny thing here is, you see, I made 8,600, and I made an OGC's 9,800. So like this is just the OGC breakouts are like my biggest and best pattern. So that's something like I know I like mastered fully. And that was one of my goals actually this year. I was like in December 2021, I said that I want to master OGC breakouts, and I'm pretty sure I did that. So this is one thing like I really have in my arsenal. And going to the next year, I want to like master this one, listed device. So yeah, but again, if overall on the year, like this is the stats, and I don't look at anything but this column here. This is the main column. I just kept my losses very small. My biggest loss this year was smaller than my biggest loss last year. So yeah, that's funny. But again, that was like on a slippage. So and even though I sized up here, still my losses are smaller than last year. And this loss was like 4 I lost here. So this wasn't even like, you know, these losses are not really something like I had a bad executions. It was just like Josh was saying, sometimes you can't sell your risk, sometimes it breaks and then goes just dumps. So yeah. And my wins are pretty big. So it was just crazy when I had like my first big win, and then it just started to, you know, escalate. And I always think about it in my mind because I'm risking like I haven't even risked like $150 here. It was like $60 risk in this trade. So I just think like if I start up to like 100 risk, 200 risk, and then it's just gonna get like like very ridiculous already. So yeah, that's just what I'm thinking, like always, that I have to be not scared to risk, like because it's very hard to risk like let's say 200 compared to 500, like no, compared to $50 because in your mind you can think like that's like a big number, but I'm still always trying to think of it just like an R, just R, only R. So that was one thing this year. I was only thinking about R. I wasn't focusing about the money at all, and that's what I want to keep up doing next year. The win rate is bad, but the risk reward makes it up. So oh, and the last thing here is like I saw Xander showed his art thing. So this is my art chart. You see, like it's like in the beginning, I mean, yeah, it was up, but then as I started making like big wins, I would also have like just like I would have a big trade and then nothing for a month, then again good streak and then nothing again. So this is like I have more drawdowns than like Xander's chart, but I guess the way like I come back is, yeah, again, it's just risk reward. You see here, like this chart like literally shows bad win rate and then great risk reward. So the one thing I want to improve, of course, is to make it more smooth, the line. So it's like this here when I had 40% win rate last year. So yeah, what
Keep
else?
walking up those stairs, Alex.
Yeah, like this is literally like a stair. And let's see, what I want to say is my goals for the next year. The first one is learn listed long, and of like the main pattern is listed device, because I'm learning from Roland Wolf, and that's what he's doing. Like the way he trades them is like when I trade OGC breakouts, he's like very in tune with them, and I also want to get to this level. And then I want to start risking 1% of my account if the market gets better. If it's not good, then I can't even risk close to that because it's just the plays are not there for me to risk that amount yet. So yeah, that's like, because I really think when you risk 1% of your account, that's when you can start to really get to the exponential growth. Because that's what happened here when I was risking like 100, 150 when my account was like 10,000 or like a little bit more than that. So
Yeah.
that's like really I want to do. If they're my plays, I'll be just risking more and more because I know if I make like 10R, that's like already a huge gain. So okay, let's see what else to talk about here. I just want to learn device. That's it. That's literally like my only goal going to next year. And one of the monetary goals is to have 500 average win. But again, that's not really what we're focusing on. It's just gonna come by itself. And of course, improve win rate to at least like 35, maybe 40%. But again, I don't mind that win rate as long as my risk score stays like this. So yeah, I think that's it. There's nothing else to talk about, like chart wise. Close this. And
Awesome.
yeah, again. Oh yeah, and also my goals for this year that I'm talking about in our December video that we did last year. It was become a consistently profitable trader. Well, that didn't happen. Then I had master of DC breakouts. I did that, and then sized up to $200 average win. I did that. Then I said start YouTube channel and do monthly recaps, and that's what I did this whole year. I have, well, I don't have 12 videos because one of the videos I did 2 recaps. Like all the months I have in my channel, that's like very good to look
That's
back.
still great, yeah.
It's like a nice little like collection and of my journey documentation. So that's nice. And yeah, so I had, and then learn listed. I didn't do that, so I had 3 out of 5 goals.
Everybody go watch Alex's YouTube videos. Link in description. They are top
Yeah.
notch.
2023 is just, I just hope the market gets a little bit better, because again, it just at the end of the day, it depends on the market. But
Mhm.
still, it depends on us too. Of course, I don't want to blame the market, but still, you can't become a millionaire in this market, like if you just can just be that bad, for me at least.
Yeah, 2022, like all over Twitter and like literally everyone I've talked to, it's their hardest year they've ever traded. Regardless if they've traded, 2 years long or 5 years long or 10 years long, it was a hard year. So if you're green at all, you're good. Even if you're small red or decent red, like you're good as long as you didn't blow up or lose anything that's not easily recoverable. If you didn't do that, you're good. And Alex, do you
Yeah.
think you're going to be sizing up on your OTC breakouts like
Yeah,
this year, like
100%.
compared to this year?
Yeah, like after November, because that's when I had that big trade. I
Yeah.
was talking to Jay and I was like, yeah, on the next breakouts, I'll be risking, well, because he always tells me, he's like you can risk more, because yeah, like, he's like, yeah, you can risk more, even more than 1%, like even 2% of the account. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'll be risking like 150 or like 175 on the next breakout. The next breakout never happened. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, if the plays are there, and I can't even, just risk on the first one. I need to get like, let's say, like 3 good movers, so then I can risk a lot on the next one. But yeah,
Yeah, that's hard because this month it was like dead, and then you've got a few good ones and then it's over. And you don't have a
Mhm.
chance to
yeah.
size up.
Mhm.
And sometimes you
So
miss the good ones too. And it's like,
And then the
oh,
so
ones,
you
and then the one I sized up. Remember, I told you about that stock. And then the one I sized up on, of course, it doesn't
Mhm.
work. As soon as I
yeah.
sized up, all the trades I took were losses.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
either gotta like size up from the get-go and just deal with the
Yeah.
losses or just, try to take it slow.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
either way is fun.
yeah. But yeah, of course, I'll be sizing up. So
Cool.
because I know, like, if the breakout works, I'll make like so much more than if I lose. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Great job, Alex. Love to see it.
So yeah, my 2022 was it was better than 2020 and 2021, obviously. Because I know more, but the market wasn't as good. So it was a bit difficult to adjust, especially like it seems like each month had like a new like theme towards it. Like
Yep.
it was a completely new like
yeah,
person you were dating or something. It was like,
Definitely.
what in the world?
Mm.
And you like the
Yeah.
second you
don't
get
know
used
that,
to
but
it, it's like it's a complete different personality. So it was a bit difficult. First 6 months I did well. Because before I was like break even, and then this year I broke over, break even. And then the last 6 months was just very difficult. It was like these one shot, like there were like 2 plays a week or something. And then sometimes they weren't even that good, or you miss it, or you get shaken out, things happen. And so yeah, I'm just gonna quickly go over my biggest win. This wasn't my biggest win R wise. That one was like a long-term investment kind of
Oh, I
investment.
remember this, dude. I
And
remember
then
this.
this one, yeah, this one was my biggest dollar win.
this
So
guy.
this was like what really allowed me to be profitable and have the confidence to then, make the rest of the money that I did. So this classic pre-market low floater, I remember Lance entered pre-market and he
Oh my
sold.
gosh, dude. Oh, dude, I piked that so bad. I literally piked
Yeah.
it for like 40 cents. Oh, I remember that. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah, this was when I started looking at 5-minute charts more instead of just 1 minute, because I would just get shaken out all the time. and I think that's maybe why Lance got shaken out. But
Yeah.
so I kept my cool. I was watching the 5-minute chart, and then this was I think 10.5R, 10.8R, something like that. And yeah, it was a very solid trade. Within 30 minutes, I'm done. And there weren't any trades after that. It was just empty again for like 4 or 5 days after, and I did have a few solid trades like this. Same exact breakout. And I know Alex likes these on OTCs, but they just haven't been there either.
This is a classic. Let me extend my risk.
Yeah. Yeah, this was entirely, let me just size up off the bat type stock. And we had one recently, KLA, but
Oh.
I just saw it run. Like I don't know why. Like when it was
I
up a
traded it with
little bit,
7 shares.
when it was up a little bit, it was like, oh no, it already ran, forget
I
it.
saw
And then it
that
ran more and
Okay.
more, and it tripled. I was like, oh my gosh.
Is it Kala, right? KL.
Yeah.
That's the one I saw in pre-market. I was
Mhm.
like, whatever, because it was like high priced, and I was looking at
Yeah.
like sub $1.
Yeah, I saw it was a low floater. It was nice,
It was like
but
5 when I saw it.
yeah, it was a bit high risk, so I'm not too mad at myself for not taking it, but there were some exactly like this. And
Yeah.
yeah. So basically my biggest loss was on Tesla as of late. I was like, there was literally nothing in the market, and I wanted to have my money active. I wanted to have like active capital. So I just put it in Tesla and I lost like 400 something dollars. And I was like, man, that was a sucky way to end the year. And it just kept going lower and lower, and I was adding and adding, and I was like, I'm just gonna cut it. And I was right, because I would have lost more, but what can you do? I'm not too mad at myself for that, but that was my biggest loss. Other than that, every risk reward thing has been very, very good. And yeah, so 2023, I'll see what the market gives me. If 2023 doesn't give much, I won't be, trying to trade something that isn't there. I would just, I'm not going to make the same mistake with Tesla again, though. But let's just say it is good. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to pick my shots. I'm far more emotionally intelligent than before. And also, I'm just going to follow Alex's alerts. So
Well, once a year it hurts.
now I'm just
Alex,
kidding.
come
I'm not
on,
gonna
let us know
follow
when the
alerts.
breakout or the trigger is setting up, and we will hop on
Yeah.
it. We'll
Well, I want
support the
that.
bid.
Yeah, if you want to
But in
follow.
reality, for 2023, I'm just going to focus on sizing in, because my biggest issue was not trusting myself with OTC breakouts, because like I would see them, but I would just think it's too risky because of the slippage. But if I size in and then I size out, it would definitely help
It's
mitigate
just
the
hard in
risk.
this market with OTC breakouts because the best entries are where you don't think it's the best entry.
Yeah.
Because the volume is just so bad, and you just have to trust the setup and just maybe like take a starter and then add. But if you because if you don't enter that moment when you're not 100% sure, you will either chase and then get a very bad risk reward, or you just miss it. So
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to take it. Like Jay, how many times Jay took an entry where I wouldn't take it, and then every time it worked.
20R.
Not every
Yeah.
time, but like the times you worked, they were 10 times better than the times it didn't work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's basically to practice in both listed and OTC, size in and size out. And I should be very good if I just keep the same level head, emotional intelligence, cut losses quickly, well, intelligently, right? If it hits my risk. Other than that, yeah, I do think I can scale my account if the market gives me the opportunity to. But if not, we'll wait till 2024.
All right, boys. Amazing stuff. Honestly, I got a lot to talk about, but I will not make it boring. I promise. It'll be engaging. And I'm going to take kind of a different bit of a turn on what I'm going to say. I'm going to start off with trading related basics, and then I'm going to talk about some things outside of trading that have definitely influenced it, because that is also important. So, the first thing I want to go over is my biggest loss. And the reason why I want to go through my biggest loss is because I feel it encompasses so many different lessons in trading into one. It would have been, it would have tied my biggest winning trade ever, but then it became my biggest losing trade ever. So I feel like it can show a lot of lessons. So I'm going to go over that first. I took a sizable swing trade when the overall market was rebounding after 5 red days in a row. I had a couple contracts on Amazon. I had a Google contract. I had a Microsoft contract, and I had an NVIDIA contract. Listening to that, you're like, shit, Lance, you were way oversized. In which I would say, yes, I know I was way oversized.
You were
I had
diversified.
what's up?
You were diversified.
Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
You were diversified. It was diversified portfolio.
Yeah, it was diversified in all tech stocks. I follow the SPY very closely. But anyways, I had risk levels in mind for each one, but as I will show you guys, the day after, these risk levels became literally invalid because let me just show it. So I'm gonna show this chart. I'm gonna show the SPY first, and then I'm gonna show each chart that I was in. Can you guys let me know when you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so this is the SPY 30-minute charts because I like 30-minute charts on large caps. As you guys can see, through the 13th through about the 20th, these 5 trading days in a row, we had absolute death. I was waiting very, very patiently for a reversal. I waited very patiently through all this. I knew when it was coming. And then as soon as we got this basing right here on the 20th, this was looking really, really good. This was looking really, really good for a reversal after these 5 days right here. Let me pull up the daily chart on those too, because so that was this. That was this right here, these 5 red days. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm ready for a reversal if/when it happens. So I ended up entering, I'll show you my charts, but I entered all my contracts on this day. I held them all through this day. I was up a lot at the close of this day. I was feeling good about my position. Even if the market, just stayed kind of stagnant for a few days, I was fine with it because I had my expiration for another week out. And I was feeling good. But as you guys can see, this day was the day that they said that the rate hikes weren't going to stop in 2023. And so there was so much selling pressure that there was literally red candles all day long. I remember like watching this live. I was playing basketball as I watched the SPY hit new lows, and I just turned my phone off and kept shooting baskets. I didn't want to freaking see it. So let me go into some specific charts and you guys can see. So I'll go over Microsoft first. What the heck did I just do? I always do that. Okay, so this was my Microsoft trade. I entered at the close of this day after the basing. This day was good. This was uptrending all day long. Again, and so all these are tech stocks, so they all move very similarly. So this would have been, tying my new biggest win ever. It would have been pretty sizable, but the loss ended up being bigger than this win. So, what's up?
Unfortunate, bad luck. Every time,
but
like,
I also made a lot of mistakes.
how many times I was like this? Unrealized up a lot, and then.
Yeah, so I was up a lot. It was a couple R, which is good for options, given how risky they are. But this day, as you can see, we gapped down, and so we gapped down. My options were probably down 40% at market open. So I'm like, damn. So then, okay, so I had expiry for another week out. So I was gonna give the market time to, hold these lows right here from this Monday and this Tuesday, the 19th and the 20th from the day that I entered. But as you can see, we just completely dumped through that. And at this point, all risk management went out the window because my contracts were basically worthless at this point anyways. It would almost be dumb for me not to hold them for my extra week of expiry because they're at least going to have a little bit of a resurgence. And so it really would have been even like dumber for me to cut through this because just they were losing value so fast. There was literally nothing that I could have done.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then not to mention that this bounce right here, time decay was hitting so bad at this bounce that this looks like a sizable bounce, but this really wasn't anything. This trade was probably, I cut this one earliest the day after on this really bad day. This one was probably from here to here. This was probably like a 60% loss on Microsoft. It was really bad. So let me go to Google. Google I held the longest, which doesn't look terrible on paper. This does not look terrible on paper. So I ended up entering on this day, on the day of the move. These were up pretty good into the close of this day as well. As you can see, there was the death day. Google actually recovered pretty well into the 23rd, and then I just sold once we broke the the previous day close, after hours lows. And so I was just done with it at this point. As you can see, these arrows are not super far apart. They're not even $1 per share apart, but given after time decay, these were probably 60% down as well. And this is just the nature of options and what can happen. Amazon as well. Amazon doesn't look terrible on paper, but same story. I entered the day of the bounce. These were up very nicely in the close. Death day. These are all a very common theme because they all trade very similar. They recovered. This one I sold. This one wasn't that bad of a loss, and then these two I just cut. So all of these have a very, very common theme, but NVIDIA was by far the worst. NVIDIA had no resurgence of any kind. If you guys look at this, I bought that day of the 21st. This was up very nicely into close. This was up a few R. Again, same story, the death day here. This is where they said, rate hikes are probably not going to stop. There was so much selling pressure. And then this one had no bounce at all. And this loss was like 85%, literally. Like these decayed so fast, so fast. And so looking at these charts from I am definitely not like upset with my entries at all on this. Like I feel like my entries were exactly where they needed to be. I had too much expectation. I honestly had too much expectation, knowing how, literally experiencing for months and months on end how bad time decay is on options, then just holding them for more days than I otherwise should have. I'm not saying take out everything on that first day, but at least a sizable portion. Yes, Alex, what's up?
Oh, nice. It worked. So what do you think you could have done better? Because even if you cut out your risk, it was still the same loss almost.
It would have been very, very
Like,
similar.
what can you do? How can you prevent this?
The only way I can prevent this is I just have to scale out sooner. Like the earlier I can scale out, the better, because that's before time decay becomes a problem. And as you guys know, you guys saw my Tesla trade from Friday and how it was literally executed absolutely perfect. Yeah. And it ended up being a multiple R loss when I literally executed it perfectly. Actually, let me pull that up. But anyways, this trade right here, after such a big downtrend in the market, I'm not upset with how I traded this entry wise at all. I just got stuck in a really unfortunate situation I really couldn't pull myself out of, but it's 100% my fault. Like I'm not blaming this on anything. I'm not blaming this on, a bad day in the market, but I'll pull up Tesla really quick.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's your appeal for options? Why not trade equities where time decay doesn't affect you?
I'll get to that in a second.
Cool.
I'll get to that in a second. So, this was my Tesla trade on Friday. As you can see, I literally executed this as perfectly as I possibly could. Entered here around 123.50. I bought puts, so this is basically like shorting. And so I literally exited around 121 when I saw that it wasn't, breaking low a day. And this ended up being a 2-hour loss just due to time decay alone. Like I bought these contracts for 2 contracts at like 209 and ended up selling them at, I don't know, like 80 cents. Like that's how bad these.
Wait, Lance, you had expiration date that Friday?
What?
You had expiration date that Friday, like the same day?
Yeah, it was that day.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why
it was that day.
That's why time decayed so fast.
So
but yeah.
When you do that, then that means you expect to move quicker, right? Like you expect.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how can you even prevent this? Like, it's just so
You
weird. Like,
you really can't. You
you
really
have to
can't.
just take a profit there, or what? Like the first time it dropped, like after those 3 candles. What? Because
I don't just the longer it stayed kind of stagnant for a while, just the worse it got, and it never got any better. Like any sort
Do
of
you
upward movement or downward movement didn't. What's up?
do you remember the strike?
121 puts.
Oh, that's close too. What the heck?
Yeah. So it was close. But it is what it is. But anyways, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. That trade had a lot of lessons in them, but I had a lot kind of like that. And like I said, I would, I would feel like everything's good and then get knocked down. Feel like everything's good, get knocked down, and it was just harder and harder and harder every single time. And it's just been a lot to adapt to. So that's the first thing. I'm sorry guys, it's gonna be a while. So the second thing is I got a lot of changes to make. And I know you guys have heard me say this, but I'm done falling into the same trap. I've gotten burned too many times. Every time I thought I got it and it was time to turn around my trading, I kept getting pushed down harder, like I said, and it will now be physically impossible for me to do that again. And I will say why. I need to do better in reviewing my trades and journaling. This is something that I think all of us can kind of get into. I don't journal my trades or my intraday sentiment nearly as much as I should. I've gotten way too comfortable just kind of looking at a trade and moving on to the next one. And it's something I definitely need to flip around. All it takes is 30 productive minutes a day to do this, to do these trades reflections and how you felt and what your emotions were. And so there's no excuses not to do it. So I'm so done, looking at a trade that I took being like, okay, yeah, I know what to do. And then all of a sudden just, not doing a deep reflection on it because
Yeah, making
it's
the same
likely,
mistake.
yeah, it's likely I'll make the same mistake again. And I have done that time and time again, as you guys know. So I'm done doing that. I'm done doing that. And so I got another thing for the beginning of this year. I'll have $800 in my E-Trade account for options only, options swing trade, very selective. I'll be leaving a small amount of money. All I need is like a $1,000 account for options because the risk reward's a lot different. And so I'll be keeping that. My other account will be starting from scratch, a $2,000 TD Ameritrade account, which I will use for small caps only, and I will be using 2% account risk, starting off there, and with the ability to grow as I'm more consistent. So the thing that I'm thankful that, I'm thankful for the journey that I've had thus far this year and learning so many different things relating to options, because now when I look at small caps, I actually have a vision on them now. Like I'm using higher time frames. My entries and exits will be on 15-minute charts. I'll be using 1-minute charts for adding and moving risk levels, but other than that, 15-minute charts are what I like. And looking at larger time frames has been definitely something that has helped me, mentally, because you guys know, like when I used to trade small caps in the past, I used to pike all the time. And then I would get mad at myself for not, holding. And then, anyways, you guys know that whole story. So I know that doing the same thing is not going to yield any sort of changes. Now I'm not giving anything up. I'm not changing anything strategically. I still know what I need to do in the options market, and now I still know what I need to do in the small cap market. And so it's just going to be a tandem type thing, and whichever arises, not having the pressure to not really pressure, but not having to be, fully stuck in one thing, and kind of, it's something very, very necessary, because I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And, it's going to be very, very controlled. And I will be sharing every single trade that I take, win, loss, break even. Every single trade that I take, this account will be completely from scratch. I'll be putting in TD Ameritrade, like Josh uses TD Ameritrade. Like he says, active trader is really good. It's really easy. And so I'll be doing that as well. So those are definitely a few changes. Do you guys have any questions before I keep?
That's
saying
this
something?
regular stocks.
I wanna add something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna screen share real quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Alex,
I
what
don't know
did
if
you
you
say?
guys, I don't know if you guys saw this thread by the Short Bear. Definitely a recommended follow on Twitter. He had a thread. I think he deleted it, but basically, he talked about how he tracks data and reviews. And this is something you touched on. Tracking data, or sorry, reviewing is like by far the best thing you can do as a trader. He goes really in depth with his stuff. And he's making like 8 figures yearly. So he's a insane trader to watch and observe. But basically, each mistake is journaled via Google Sheets, charts with annotations, text mistakes, positive and strategy findings, and all of that he reviews with other traders, which is a huge part that I want to emphasize. You know, sharing your trades that with like-minded traders that are gonna give you a real response. Like they're gonna tell you what they actually think, not like, oh, it's okay, like you'll get it next time, like that was good, even though it really wasn't. Like they'll tell you. But basically you could see how in depth he goes with his stuff. He goes like play by play what he was thinking. And this way you can share it with everyone that you trade with and they could see what you're thinking. And as you can see, some of the trades he provided, like he's an insane trader, but these are the trades he was talking about, and he'll just review in depth like that. So that's definitely something I am starting to do in 2023, because it's going to make a huge difference. And I think everyone needs to do it. If you guys are not reviewing as good as the Short Bear, you're never going to get to his level. Like, why would you expect to be able to get to his level without putting in as much work as he's doing? So that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's amazing, Xander. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, well said.
Don't you think it like depends on your style though? Because let's say,
Oh yeah,
if I trade dip buys, there's not much to like.
Yeah, my style's more lenient, and I only trade 2 or 3 times a week
I
normally.
mean, even with mine, like I'm systematic, so I mean, I trade the same way every time. So there's not as much to review. It's mostly for like total discretionary, like random, like not feel-based trades necessarily, but just like market-based trades or like unique trades. Like that's where it's really best. But I would say it's good for all things. Like there's nuances even in dip buys. They're like, oh, the pre-market chart may have been different, or there's nuances. So it's beneficial for everything.
What I started doing that like I think in October. Before all this year, I was just every trade I took, I did like a small trade recap, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. But there's at some point it got to the point I had like 10 trades a week. And well, okay, no, I was doing them like every day, but sometimes I would, like okay, I'll do it later, and it would like I would have like stack up them for like a lot of them, and I was like, let me just do daily recaps. So now I'm doing like 3 trades a day. I'll just put all the arrows on the chart and just do a daily recap. I have like a daily journal, and then that's when I go over all the trades and everything. So yeah, that definitely helps. And especially like let's say on the OTC breakouts, that's usually when I do like a separate recap, because that takes like 10 minutes, 7 minutes. Because a lot of
they're rare.
Yeah. So I think the more like big picture your setup is, the better it is. The more you should analyze it.
Yeah, like if it's a Zach Morris pump, which sadly won't happen anymore, then it's like there's not much to like recap. It's like, well, I just took advantage of degenerates,
Yeah, it really does matter, what you trade, how much you trade. I think as long as we're each productively doing something to improve from what we learned in our trading each day, whether you're systematic, discretionary, large cap, small cap, short, long, whatever, under the sun, crypto, whatever, as long as you're doing something, each day to improve on recapping your trades, then I think that's obviously beneficial. And, this goes back to being a top 1%er, like Xander was talking about earlier. Got to do what everyone else doesn't want to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when I do these things, I'm like sitting and I'm like, who the hell does this right now?
Exactly, yeah.
When you think like that, you're on the right path. Like sometimes I just sit like and I'm doing like all those, daily things. I'm like writing like a text. Oh yeah, like today I entered this and I saw this. I'm like, who else does this? Like, like oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like David Goggins.
Yeah.
Why are you going for a run? Oh, because you're not.
Yeah, like you don't. Like you don't see the results. You don't see like the results that same day.
All right, boys. Well, I got something else that I could say if I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I think that I don't know if you guys kind of relate to this, but okay, so I haven't lost any passion or dedication to trading at all. Like I love it, of course I love it, but the past few months I feel slightly more disconnected than I used to. Um, I don't spend as much time learning like I used to, and I honestly really miss those days. I really miss when I was like more fully indulged in learning trading. Obviously, each part of our journey is something different, but I do kind of miss it, and I've been feeling disconnected. And I don't have that same consistency in the the growth of my knowledge in trading like I used to, which I do want to get back. I mean, obviously recaps are part of that, but um so I've had, I guess one of the things that definitely affects your trading is your life outside of trading. Um I've had a lot of extremely massive and important, things in my life outside of trading that have happened, recently. Some things are definitely better than others. Some things are really good, but some things are also really bad. Um, I can give some examples. Like I'm like good things I can start off, I'm happier than I've ever been, despite, trading drawdowns. My relationship is better than it's ever been. My outlook on life is very optimistic. I'm fixing some habits that need improvement. I'm forming better routines. I started being a server at my restaurant that I work at. And so that's that I'm making a little bit more money there. So that's some good things, but
You're also
there's also
almost
been
done with
some,
college.
yeah, I got a
Less
year left to
stress.
college, but there's also been some really bad things. I've had a lot of trouble with my boss and my manager at work recently. That's had to take a lot of time. Um, it's had to take a lot of time. My coworkers know it, and it has not been easy at work at all. I've had a lot of parental conflict lately. And this definitely influences a lot of things. There's new financial constraints that are being formed, outside of my trading, big life changes that need to happen next year. I have to buy a car. I have to be out of my house by midway next year. It has not been easy um with a lot of, conversations with my parents, especially it has not been easy recently at all, for several reasons. But there's a lot of big changes. I do have to fix some habits. I do have to make better usage of my time. And so I don't want to say like there's never an excuse for anything, but there's been so many things outside of trading that I have had to put like immediate focus on, because it's completely necessary. And it's just I guess everything ebbs and flows, and there's a time and a place to be, have 100% focus on one thing, 100% focus on another. But there's just been a lot of life events that have been a lot to handle all at once. And so that definitely takes some getting used to. And I'm not a huge person for like new year, new me, New Year's resolution stuff, because people don't end up doing them. People go to the gym for a week and then they're gone. You never see them again. People will do something and then they'll be gone. But like, we make new day resolutions. Each of us, we say we want to do something better, each day that we wake up. And so there's always more for us to do, but like genuinely, I have like a lot of stuff that I have to change going into the new year. And I'm not just saying that because it's cliche, new year, new XYZ, but it's genuinely true. So a lot of life events is one thing. And then I do have one more thing as well. It's more of like a life habit. I need to stop waiting for the perfect moment to do things. I do a lot of reflection time on simple things that happen in my life, but I need to not overthink things. That's in good ways and a bad way, because then you end up losing those moments that you now have. There needs to be a good balance. Can't overthink good things too much, can't overthink bad things too much. Reflection time is good and reflecting on specific moments in your life, but when it overconsumes the current moments that you're in, it ends up getting tough, because then you're losing out on this new time and new opportunities that you have. So there's definitely a balance, and it's been a lot to take in recently. But I feel good about where I'm at, and I'll keep you guys updated a lot more a lot more transparently as time goes by. So that's really all I got.
Yeah. Just take it one day at a time, one step at a time, one trade at a time, whatever it is, you know. That's the way we're all gonna do things.
Yeah, man.
A lot of
That's all we can do.
yeah, and when you said about the like habits, daily habits, yeah, I also need to improve like a lot of them. Like sometimes, like for example, one thing is I wanted to learn how to do the full split, and I was doing like every day for like 30 days or something, the morning stretches, and I just stopped, and I never like restarted doing that. So
Hmm.
that's one thing I want to do. Oh yeah, and I will start 75 hard soon too. So hopefully that helps me. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely to improve in trading, you have to also improve in other things in your life, unless the market is completely insane and you can just abandon everything and only trade like Jack Keller. But that's only when the market is completely crazy.
Hmm.
In the regular life, yeah, you have to be perfect, like be good in all the areas.
Yeah, 2023 might be a year where we just focus on ourselves and other areas besides trading. You know, it might be a slower year. No Zach Morris or something. I don't know. Like it just might be slow completely. But we'll just play what the market gives us, and then yeah, we'll see from there.
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, I feel like there's so much work to be done in such a little amount of time where it's easy to like have your mind go absolutely crazy because you're like,
Mhm.
especially like when you have like specific deadlines that you have to do things that you set for
Yeah,
yourself or have to have for yourself. In my case, financially when I have to, move out of my house by a certain time, I feel like there's a lot of things that we jumble all of our mind at the same time, and we feel like we have so much more um that we can do that we're just trying to pile in, but
exactly. Yeah.
sometimes we overload ourselves with it. So
Hmm. It is difficult. But I feel like we're young, we could handle it. It's just sometimes it gets overwhelming. But like Harry Haas said before he blocked me on Twitter, was like he's like, don't fight it. Like if you know you get in a slump, like don't fight it, just accept it, take a break, and then come back and you'll have that liveliness for trading again. The focus that you need to make the proper trades and not just go through the motions in a sense.
So yeah, I think that was really good what you said there. For me, honestly, like just making that structure is a game changer. Like making your life disciplined, um, and just your routine especially affects everything else. And I don't know. Let me turn off my thing in the background. As you can see, I have a piano there, and I got that piano for Christmas, and I'm learning piano. That's one of my goals for
nice.
2023. So that's my goal for 2023. That's like one of the side hobbies I'm doing, and
Wait,
side
Xander, put
hobbies
it
are
back.
also important.
Put it back.
Huh?
Put the whiteboard back. Hang on a second.
It's got
Put the
my
whiteboard
master
back.
game plan.
Put the whiteboard back for a second. All right, guys, peep the next gen circle in the bottom left hand corner with the circle around it.
It's my hedge fund upcoming.
Next gen
What's the word under? What does it say under next gen?
NextGen Capital.
Oh, next gen capital. Love it.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
It's a great name. But yeah, in all seriousness, Xander, outside things outside of trading to, put yourself in a relaxing state, but as well as, mentally prepare you for the battlefield that trading is, is always beneficial.
Honestly, what I did to improve productivity 1000x, listen to a lot of Andrew Tate. And like, I'm not even kidding. Like, what he says is so good. Like, he's just like, just do it, basically.
Yeah, regarding business and being a man,
Yeah,
those
business
stuff I
and
agree with. Yeah.
and his work ethic is unmatched. So like what he says about work ethic, that's really what I listen to, and it's a game changer.
Nice.
Whatever works, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys know this neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman.
Yes.
Yep. I listen to
Dude,
him.
he's a beast, man. But like he
Yeah.
motivates you by like speaking logical. Like
Yep.
it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like the way the
I
brain.
personally love Jordan Peterson too. Jordan
Yeah.
Peterson's amazing.
He has podcasts too, not the Andrew something.
Andrew
Andrew
Huberman.
Huberman.
Yeah, he has podcasts too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can watch his clips. They're very good too. It's
No,
about
my
like the brain.
my
what-
main guy who I listen to every day is Andy Frisella. He's
Mhm.
the best for me.
Yeah, you've always been an Andrew Frisella guy
the way he
since the
talks, like,
beginning.
he always screams. It's amazing. Like his last one. Watch that one. Like the 20-minute real talk. I was watching it on the way to grocery store. It was nice.
I'm pretty sure Alex started talking about Andy Frisella the first day I ever talked to him last March.
Well, no. It was somewhere like April 2021.
Mhm.
Someone posted his podcast in one of the discords, and then I listened to him. I'm like, oh, perfection.
You're like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, everyone's got their thing. Everyone's got their
And-
thing. And yeah.
To end this, that's what he said in the thing. He said, every single person right now is motivated, but it's hard to be disciplined. So that's what he was saying. Like, this year, I'm going to be disciplined.
There you go.
This year,
Right.
Yep.
Speaking into
Is that the
existence.
word of 2023?
hopefully.
What is it? What is it,
Discipline.
Josh? Yeah, it better be. It is for me, I'm sure. Damn sure. All right, boys. Xander wants
Yeah,
to take us out.
Yeah, this is an awesome yearly recap. I'm gonna go watch the last one we did. I honestly forgot we did it, but that's gonna be awesome to see how we've evolved and accomplished our goals. And I can't wait for the next years. Hopefully we're gonna have more videos in between. Like we're gonna start them up because they're really important to talk with each other. It's been way too long.
For sure.
But yeah, a lot of good points. Hope you all enjoyed. Drop a like, subscribe, and we're good. Let's go. Everyone crushed it
Cheers.
this year. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Good luck,
Good luck,
everyone.
everyone. Peace.